land, 230 at 20.
What's going on, Aviators? We got an exciting live interview session for you today. We got my man, Jermaine Bibb. I know you've seen him on Instagram. I know you've seen him on Facebook. I know you see him on YouTube because he just hit 4,000 subscribers. And I know you see him on TikTok. Aviator, content creator, photographer, videographer, does it all. But we're here today to talk about his passion that he has turned in, he's turning into a profession. So without further ado, Jermaine Bibb.
Hey, yes, sir. Nick, thank you for having me on this platform and everything with your viewers, and just want to talk to me about aviation and my journey, man. So I'm very happy to be here, and let's get it cracking, and let's talk aviation.
Just let everybody know we've kind of been working on this one for a while. After we had our last interview, with Toya and Megan, from the Fly Culture event, which I saw that and it went great. We was looking for our next person. And so, I thought, what great to have someone else who's, doing all the work to put in for their journey to make their aviation dreams happen. So, just for those, first time catching the channel, my name is Nick Williams. I'm the executive director and founder of a nonprofit organization called the Urban Aviators Society. Our goal and our mission is to help underserved and underrepresented youth get introduced to aviation. Without exposure, we don't know. Without exposure, we can't do something that we don't know. And that was one of my things as a kid. I always wanted to fly, but I never knew about all these things that I could do. So, I was never exposed to these things. So that's our goal. That's our hope, to see more people that, look like us, and also, help out the underrepresented and underserved communities to help get them to introduced to all facets. I mean, I'm not just talking about pilots, because we still have the mechanics, because they're very important. The planes won't stay in the sky without the mechanics. The air traffic controllers, to help us stay in the sky to where, we don't have any incidents in the air. And, even the business executives that, selling airplanes, the engineers and all that other stuff. So, just introducing everybody to all that stuff. But we're introducing you today to another pilot, who's working his way to the majors. And, he's pretty darn close to getting there as well. So, I mean, you got anything that you want to talk about, like some of the things that you're doing, like your company, or, some things that you got going on?
Well, outside the questions that we're going to be talking about, I'm just very happy to be here, inspired aviator, and kind of doing my thing. Started flying 5 years ago, back in 2019, bought my first lesson on my birthday in 2019, my 26th birthday. That was a gift to myself. I said I was gonna make that happen, and it's been quite a journey, and just enjoying that journey has been a blessing, and seeing how far I've came and document my journey along with that, and putting it on YouTube and sharing it on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and stuff like that, and just showing people that it's possible, that you can make it happen if no matter what background you come from. It's definitely something, if you put your mind to, you can follow through, and you follow through, plan and follow through. You can make it happen. Set your goals out and make it happen. So it's been quite the journey. Along the way, I've caught caught the phrase of no limits. You see on my hat right here, and expand your horizons on my shirt right there. Let me get my microphone out the way right there. So just something to kind of inspire people, little hashtags that I want to do, and branding that, that eventually, I'm not selling these yet, but eventually I want to start selling, and people purchase and everything. That way it could be a reminder when they look at their t-shirt or their hat or any type of swagger that they got on, that that don't stop, keep going, and you can make anything happen you put your mind to, for sure. So again, I appreciate you having me on this platform, man, and I'm very excited to get into the conversation.
Oh yeah. So what year did you actually start flying?
So yeah, back in 2019, I started. I bought my first lesson. I had a, being a pilot was kind of like, okay, that'd be pretty cool. I started traveling at a young age, and just try to figure out a way I can travel, for a cheaper cost, or for free, to be exact, and everything. So, when you walk past the cockpit, you get on a plane and you walk past the cockpit, you just look, you look to the left, and you like, see all them buttons, you see the pilots programming their stuff in and everything. And, just that view is just inspiring, and it seems pretty cool, technology and everything. So, one day I just introduced working at UPS, and walked out to the ramp and introduced myself to one of the pilots who was pre-flighting, and it's like, man, how do you become a pilot? And He's like, man, you know, first thing you need to do is do this and go to the airport and work at the airport and everything. So he actually took me out on my first flight in a small general aviation aircraft, single engine. I can't even remember the name of the aircraft. It was so, you know, I couldn't even remember the name, but it was just dope. I just remember him showing me how to write down the ATIS and picking up weather, then the pattern and everything. I still have that notebook that he showed me from that first flight, and ever since then I caught that bug. So um, yeah, back in 2019, and that's, you know, I was working at the airport probably like a year before that, before I actually bought my first flight lesson, because I was kind of hesitant. You know, I didn't want to be able to pay for one flight, then not be able to continue, you know, consistently. That's probably the biggest
Yeah.
thing. You know, able to um, pay the, you know, the personal finance of that. So, but I don't think I was actually set up to you know, continue. But I just dove into it. It's like, man, I got enough money to pay for this flight, so I'm gonna pay for it, and we're gonna make it happen. And ever since then, you know, I've been consistent. I've been trying to stay consistent and stay proficient with it. So it's been quite the journey. So 2019 was the first time I flew with my first flight lesson on my 26th birthday, which may be late to some or early to some, but I think it's early because, you know, it's never too late. You know, I know pilots that's started flying when they was 35, 40, and then got to the airliners or whatever they, you know, wherever they dreamed out to be, or they may be flying for fun. But my goal was to fly for a living. And 2019 on September 4th, 2019 was the when I started that journey. So definitely blessed to be where I am now.
And you know, well, you answered the first question without even me asking it. So, you know, great minds think alike on that one. Because I
Thanks.
like when I think back to my journey. So I started a year after you. I started in 2020, right in the height of COVID. Not gonna lie, March of 2020 was when I started. I tired of being in the house, tired of making excuses for myself. Was like, man, I'm just going to do this. I've always wanted to do it. Why not just go do it? Started taking lessons from there. I'll never forget Cessna 172. Capital City Aviation. That was the flight school that I first went to at Don Scott's Airport on the Ohio State University's campus.
The big
So
O, huh?
yeah. So with that, you know, it's just, you know, like you said, you know, catching that bug. You know, you get on airplanes all the time. You know, seeing the cockpit, you see all the amazing stuff in there. Like, man, I wonder what it's like to, you know, be there, push the buttons, you know, do things like that. And, you know, just jumping into it, getting right to it. Because up until recently, I mean, I have not seen, you know, many, you know, black pilots or, you know, just say of any other minority. I'd have to say this year, probably about 3, 4 months ago, I met two black captains. One flies for Delta and the other one flies for Southwest. And it was just amazing because, I mean, like I said, you don't see us in those positions very often. And it was just
Absolutely.
amazing to see that for one. But, you know, working, as you say, you're never too old. I started flying, you know, in 2020, I just turned 40 years old. So, so,
Perfect.
you know, I'm on my journey and I'm 44 right now. So, you know, still continuing my journey. I've heard of some people starting, like I said, when they're 53. I've met somebody who started, you know, who's just recently got into, you know, commercial airlines at, you know, the age of 54. So it's never too late. And like I said, it's never too early. It's just the thing getting up there doing it, the consistency, the things like that that keep you going. And, you know, just keeping up with that. So, you know, we're rolling to the second question. So, can you share any unique challenges you faced as a black pilot in the aviation industry?
Yeah. So I mean, it's all well, it goes back to what I said with financing, fun being able to fund my you know, my aviation training and everything. That was probably the biggest challenge, because if you know, I mean, aviation in general is not a cheap task. Training is not a cheap task. It's not something you can, you know, go out and just be like, okay, I want to fly tomorrow. When, you know, if you're in that situation, or financial situation, you probably can, or, you know, and make that happen. But for me personally, that was probably one of the hardest things is you know, you trying to figure out how I'm gonna pay for this. You know, you're paying 180 for 180 an hour to fly, just, and that's just for the plane. Then you, on top of that, you got to pay for your instructor. Then, you know, now you're doing the math. It's like, dang, I need 40 hours to get my private pilot license. It's like, well, no, 40 times 180 times, you know, then that's the bare minimum, because, you know, most pilots don't even get to that point where they're at 40 hours and they're ready to take their check ride, you know. So like me
Mm-hmm.
personally, I'm a COVID flyer. You know, I started training during COVID, when the peak of COVID was going on. So with me flying and staying proficient and everything, I had a lot of reschedules and a couple of discontinuances, which I must admit, it happens. I had to fail check rides and everything, but factoring all that in financially, that was one of the hardest things, but that goes back to say, if you want to make it happen, you'll make it happen. So put the grind in and working at the airport, fueling these planes and working overtime. I probably had 2 or 3 jobs at the time while I'm doing this. And just hustling. You mentioned that I'm a videographer and a photographer, and that was my bread and butter right there outside of working at the airport. I'm doing freelance stuff for big time schools, sports photography. I'm into sports photography and everything. And outside of that, I do weddings and all this other stuff. But anything where the money's at, I definitely do. Do you do maternity shoots? Oh yeah, we can do some studio stuff. Let's do it. Let's make it happen. So I went to YouTube University to taught myself how to, work the camera that I bought. And if you know about photography and videography and when it comes to being a creative, it's the equipment's a big part of that too. So I made a lot of investments just to make sure I be able to invest more into myself on my aviation journey too. So that was probably one of the biggest unique challenges that I had. Finances, man. But it teaches you, a lot of hardships, a lot of downsides too, a lot of negatives that may have happened, might have you been in a slump a couple of times and everything. But if you stay focused, you can make it happen. You stay consistent, you can make it happen. If you really believe, you say it every day, I'm gonna be a pilot, I'm gonna go fly today, or I want to fly Thursday, hit your instructor up. Hey, we flying Thursday. Go ahead and make it happen. And on top of that, just trusting God. A lot of people be faithful, how people's religion are and everything, but faith carried me a long way to where I am now and got me through my hardships of not thinking I'm gonna be able to pay for my next flight lesson, thinking I'm gonna have to cancel this next flight coming up. But somehow, a gig popped up for me, it's paying me $500 to make me, I now can go fly for 2 hours or 3 hours and knock this out, or 2 hours over a week span or 2 week span, just dividing that funds up and everything. So, being able to manage your finances accordingly and just get afterwards. That was probably one of the biggest unique challenges that I had, throughout this journey. So, but I'm blessed to be here now and happy that, I stayed with it and with the encouragement of my family as well and my support team, even co-workers and everything. Um, the home team at Bowman Field, I'm in Louisville, Kentucky. So Bowman Field is my home airport. Started working there as a line tech with Louisville Executive Aviation. Shout out to them. And, and that all plays a factor too. Cause, when you work at the airport, you working as a line tech or, filling these planes, putting these planes in the hangars and all that stuff, you get a fuel discount. And that was another big thing, because as another thing, if you're an aviator, that fuel ain't cheap. So along with the plane, so along with the instructor, nothing is cheap. You don't want to waste your money. So I was trying to take advantage of all these opportunities to make sure I made flying as cheap as I could, as cost effective as I could, just to manage that properly. So I'm very happy and I enjoyed my time there and met a lot of people and networking and everything. So that was what the gentleman that I met at the UPS, Blake Westhoff. I'm giving him a shout out to Blake. He really changed my life. He was like, man, you need to go to the airport and work there. That's the first thing I'll tell you to do. And I was working at the airport probably for a year before I actually started flying. And then I was like, man, my initial goal was to save my money up, then knock it all out consistently. But I was kind of eager. You run the planes every day. It's like, man, yeah, everybody's asking you, so when you gonna start flying? And I was like, man, just playing it out. I don't got the money right now, but we're gonna figure it out. Then one day I was like, man, on my birthday, I'm gonna buy my lesson. And that's kind of what happened, man. So definitely a challenge, but it was managed accordingly, and I was able to make it happen. So definitely thankful and shout out to God on behalf of that for sure. So being able to guide me through that for real.
Yeah, same, like a lot of my challenges when I first started was, not the school not having enough planes, or like, okay, now the planes are running, but I wasn't able to get on the schedule because like when I was trying to get on the schedule, most of the planes were in maintenance and, coming back to there, or they had instructors that were, at that time going to the majors because they done their time, it was time for them to start moving on. So, all those things factor into, you being able to stay consistent. And I was like, I got to a point to where like my lessons I would go 2 and sometimes 3 weeks between a lesson because I couldn't get a plane, or like my instructor was just so booked up. couldn't get back in. And, I just, which, I was nowhere close to the 40-hour student. I think I got around 70. It was like 70, 78, somewhere in between there, before I got the chance
I
to
was
take
at
my tech
100,
ride.
bro. I was at 100. Like,
I
and
feel you.
that's, and with that being said, too, I want to give a shout out to Kentucky Flight Training Center. They helped me a lot throughout that journey too, so they helped me support. I built up a little credit line with them, was able to, cut it down and everything. So, shout out to Dale and the folks at Kentucky Flight Training Center at Bowman Field. If you need it, and I tell people all this all the time when they hit me up in the inbox, like, where can I fly at Bowman? Um, number one is Kentucky Flight Training Center. When I say it, of course, you got the other flight schools, which they do a great job, but I got to pay my respects and do my due diligence by throwing them to Kentucky Flight Training Center first. And if it works out, it works out. If it don't, but I, definitely want to show love to them because they definitely helped me out on that journey as well, too. Because I think I was one of part of the first people when they first started to start flying with them, and in the 1969 Piper Cherokee and the handbrake and everything. So I, very grateful for them. So I just want to give a shout out to them. But yeah, 100 hours is where I started at. 70 hours. You just never know when you're gonna be ready or what would uphold, throughout that process. Because weather is a big factor. As when it comes to, you might have a check ride tomorrow, then weather's not looking too good. All right, we're gonna reschedule for 2 weeks. 2 weeks later,
Oh,
weather's still not looking good. So what's going on,
mm-hmm.
man? I got the plane booked. I'm ready. I've been studying. I can't sleep. So, but yeah, nah, man. I definitely understand that time being spent in it. But yeah, it's been quite a journey. But 100 hours, but it's all about the completion. As long as you can get it done, you get it done. It's make it happen.
That's what it is. So, I mean, with that, in what ways do you believe the aviation industry can better support and encourage diversity amongst pilots?
So I would say that you know, aviation industry can better support and encourage diversity among pilots is just like community outreach, um, getting involved with the community that's not very familiar, just reaching out, talking to schools, the nonprofits, the summer camps, and everything, talking to these kids that's not, or even adults that's not really familiar with that. Maybe all they know is commercial airlines thing, but they're not really knowing they can go out and fly a plane at 40 or at 26 or at 55. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's not too late for that. So, just getting out in those communities and letting them know that, hey, it's not too late for this. This is here. We got 4 flight schools at this airport, or, in our case, Bowman Field or whatever, that you can come out to and tour the airport and just see what it's like. And not necessarily saying that you have to be a pilot. You talked about that when we first started, that there's other jobs out here like air traffic control, maintenance, inspectors, engineers, flight line crews and everything, ramp agents and stuff like that. So you don't actually have to be a pilot to be involved in aviation. And I think people need to know that. It's like, okay, I don't want to go to the airport
Right.
and just be, I don't want to be a pilot for real, but I like being around the airport, but you don't have to be a pilot to be around the airport. You can just, if anything, if the sky's the limit, you can own the airport. You can buy, you can buy an airport, you can own the FBO, and whereas providing the fuel to the people on the airport. So get
Yeah.
a hangar, get out a hangar, and that's a real estate thing right there. So buying a hangar and all that stuff, like a lot of opportunities in aviation on the business side and in the actual aviation side. And but the community outreach I think is very important. There's a lot of stuff like Young Eagles, the EA Young
Mm.
Eagles, which I'm a volunteer pilot with that. So with that, you go out and put the post out, and a lot of people don't know this, but go to ye.org, yeday.org, and you can sign your kids up between the ages of 8 to 17, between the ages of 8 and 17, and they can bring them out for a free flight, take them up for a free flight. So, that's one of the things that I love doing, because showing these kids like, yo, look what you can do. And this is only for the pilot perspective of it, and of course you probably got people on the field that's going to be at those events that's not pilots, but just give these kids the opportunity to actually fly the plane and everything. I know I let my kids, when we go up in the air, even though it's not a long flight, 20-30 minute flight, but here, it's your controls. Let's fly. They look at me. You can find these videos on YouTube. They look at me like, oh, what you mean fly the plane? Like, nah, man, you good? Go ahead. Go ahead and do it. And young ladies too, they out there
Yeah.
just not knowing that it's not saying it's that easy to fly the plane, but I mean, but it's essentially that easy, especially when you have somebody right there that's actually knowing what they're doing. So, nothing can really, not say go wrong, but you have somebody to back you up. So you want to just have them controls and realize that it really is possible to do that. So You know, the experience showing the community that, especially at a young age, the communities where the rural communities and the communities that's not really familiar with aviation, showing them that hey, this is possible. You can really go out there and fly a plane and make a career out of it. And if you're young enough, find the scholarships, find the funding to knock that out, and shoot, you 10 steps ahead. So imagine if you get your
Yeah,
pilot license. People don't know you can start flying. Shoot, there's no minimum age, but you can start flying at 13, 14 years old, start building your hours.
yeah.
By the time you graduate college at 22, 20, 21, 22, 23, you might be at 1,500 hours or 1,000 hours and have an airliner job as soon as you get out of college,
As
making
soon as you get up.
making that, making that big money. So that's something I definitely wish I knew about at an early age. So I try to pass it on. That's something that my people that help me out tell me all the time. Like, hey, make sure you pay it forward. Help the next
And that
person
was
out. Tell them.
one of the things that I wish, like, in my own backyard. So I'm from Tulsa, Oklahoma. That's where I'm originally from.
Mhm.
In my own backyard, I didn't even know we had a school called Spartan School of Aeronautics. And it's a huge school, but it teaches aviation mechanics and,
Oh wow.
pilots and stuff like that. But, like I said earlier, without the exposure, you never know about those things. You can't do it if you can't see it.
Absolutely.
And so, without being able to see that, and like you said, taking the youth up in, a plane and,
Mhm.
handing them the controls. All right, go ahead, fly. And you're right. Look at you. Cause I've taken a couple people up before and they were like, you serious? Really?
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah. For
you
real.
most definitely keep
That's
your hand on
real.
the yoke just in case. But
Yeah.
get watching them and they're all tight
Mhm.
gripped and they're like,
Tense
"Can
on
you
the plane. Yeah. Right. Right.
relax?"
Right. Absolutely.
And as you say that, shout out to my girls. They were on here last time, Toya and Megan with Women Rock Wings. Helping out the ladies, get their pilot's license. Also the 99s. A lot of organizations that are out here, like myself, that are trying to build this representation, trying to build this exposure and stuff like that. And so with that, that kind of leads me to the next thing. So like I said, you just hit 4,000 subscribers on YouTube. You're all over Instagram. You're all over Facebook and stuff like that. How do you navigate the balance between being a role model for other aspiring Black pilots and, focusing on your own career goals? Or is this, I mean, I know it's not just for fun or, it could be.
Yeah. So I mean, I navigate the balance between being a role model and aspiring Black pilots is I try to, like, especially right now on this, like, I try to not to say it like this, and I don't mean it anyway, but like I'm trying to focus on me throughout this process as well. I'm not trying to not forgetting what my overall goal is too, and in that process, especially with me being on social media and Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and all that, where people can actually see it. That's kind of a double whammy right there. So I'm kind of inspiring and knocking out my goals at the same time. So go up in the cockpit when I'm going on flight, go ahead and put my GoPros up and recording. But after I get all that settled, go ahead and start focusing on what I need to do today. I'm flying to Lexington, I'm flying to Bowling Green, flying to, Mayfield in Kentucky, the different airports in Kentucky just to build my hours up. But at the same time, I'm building this content up just to share my journey and share what it's like in the cockpit in the first person view, allowing people to see what it's like, what's going on in the cockpit with the comms, the radios, the approaches, how you land in the plane, the controls, just and as I'm doing this and I'm learning this as I continue to grow my platform on these social media networks, is that people are you never know who's watching. It's like, dang, this is
You
pretty
don't.
cool. And I said this before, but people are in my DM saying like, yo, how do I do this? This is pretty cool. And making it not intentionally, but it's making it look cool too. That's a big step right there too, because how we know how far social media then came nowadays. That
Yeah.
it's the
So not to
social
cut
media,
you off,
somebody just
but
swiping and they just like,
not to
oh
cut you
damn,
off,
look,
but have you ran into any haters yet?
oh what? Come on now, yeah, of course, always haters. Haters is my motivators, man. Come on, man. It's always haters. Look, it's always trolls and people saying this and that, and it's, but you know it's always gonna be trolls. You can't. There ain't nothing passing. If anything, if that's something you're doing something right. If there's gonna be haters and your video is, you got 30,000 views, 300,000 views on the video, and you got that one or two haters, like, come on, bro. What you really hating on, man?
What
They
you
ain't
really
just
doing
making stuff
here?
up. What you
Yeah.
just making stuff up. So now I know that you heard. If I got the time, if you got the time, if I made you have the time to comment on my post on some, yeah, done and done, because there's been race comments and everything made. And it's like, hey, bro. It don't affect me at all, man. I'm still doing good. You know, your one comment compared to the 300 to 1 ratio, every 300 comments, maybe one hate, I'll take it. And if anything adds fuel to the fire, I'm about to post that. And I ain't afraid to respond to the haters either. That's one thing. To, you know, some people might be like, avoid that, I'm like, nah, I'm gonna let you know, bro. It's not cool. But it also inspired me. I'm about to post a video tomorrow just for you. Matter of fact, I might give a shout out to all the haters and everything. And keep going. If you got haters, man, keep going. Ain't nothing wrong with that. So
I mean,
it's you know, you
that's
just
how you
keep
know you're
pushing.
doing something. If someone has a reason
Facts.
to hate on you, that's how you know you're doing something.
Facts. Especially if it's nothing too crazy, man. You know, I'm just flying a plane, bro. I ain't even doing that. I ain't even bringing up nothing. I'm just talking about my journey and doing this. So, you know, if they got the time to hate, hey, welcome. You actually added more views to my video that I just created. So, and comments, more engagement. So go ahead and keep commenting, guys. So I appreciate that in a way. So it ain't no thing. Haters is always gonna be here, Nick. You know that. Yeah, they always gonna be here.
Which, I mean, you know, you just talked about this part. You know, have you faced any instances of discrimination or bias or, you know, racial things within the aviation community? And, you know, I mean, you just talked about that, you know, and you know, it's sad to see, like you just said, like in the comments, you see racial comments and stuff like that. I mean, at this point, you're like, man, this is 2024. We haven't really got past all that yet. You just can't, you know, like my mom used to say, if you ain't got nothing good to say, don't say nothing
Don't say it
at
at
all.
all.
I
Absolutely.
mean, you know, keep it moving. I mean, hey, you don't have to keep watching the video. There's other videos to your liking that you can go check out. But you know, just the part to where you stoop down to, you know, the racial insults and stuff like that. So outside of social media, have you ran into anything, you know, like that?
Outside of social media, I mean, I'm grateful to say not really in person, you know, but that doesn't say that people ain't talking about me behind my back, which may be the case. But you know, if I don't hear it, you know, if I'm on top of somebody's conversation outside of you know, if I'm on top of somebody's conversation outside of me knowing about it, shoot, I'm doing something right, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sure people talk about me this and that, whether it be good or bad, but as far as in person, there's never been like a really negative, but and that's kind of how it goes, though. You know, so nobody can walk up to you and be like, "You suck," or "I hate how good you are on social media," or "You're not doing this right." They're not going. They're normally trolls behind the keyboard or behind closed doors. But if anything's fueling my fire, if I do find out about that. But gratefully, nobody. I haven't found where I came to an instance. I'm applying for a job, or I'm trying to book this plane, or work with this flight school or flight club or whatever, where it's like, "Nah, we don't want you to be here," or whatever. It's never really happened because it's that I don't set off that type of energy to that people. And and I'm grateful for the fact that everybody I've been around, especially around the airport at Bowman and the surrounding airports in Kentucky, even when I travel outside the state, it's all been good energy. Everybody got a common love for aviation, there shouldn't be no need for hate. And we all got the same goals, uplifting it. So it shouldn't be no need for hate at all. And if you're watching my journey, I'm a strong advocate for aviation, building it up, get more people involved, the more minorities, whether you're black, white, a female, whatever, just it's all the common goal of just building up the thing. We're a big family, really. If you keep the politics out of it and everything, we all the same. And that's kind of the journey that we're on, or what may come to be. So luckily, Nick, nobody's came to me crazy about that in person. Not saying I won't pop off. Not, I'm pretty sure I would handle it in a calm way if somebody did. But, but gratefully, nobody has ever came to me crazy in person on some "you shouldn't be here" or discriminate me to my face and everything. But, and I'm grateful for that though. So I'm just trying to keep my chin up and stay focused.
Kind of had the same thing, like people ask me all the time, like, I've had, like, have you ever ran anything? I said, you know what, since, starting my journey and, being in the aviation community, I have never ran into any situation to where, like, in person, where I had to, if we want to say it, check somebody or, go about it like that. It's truly been all love, no matter what airport I've ever landed at. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I've flown over some airports or flown to some airports that were like, man, that's in the middle of the woods. I don't know about that one.
Yeah,
but I'm still
I understand.
landed to some airports that you just like, okay, well, I'm here. And you walk in, there's another smiling face in there. They're like, oh, that's your plane. Oh, that's nice. And start asking you
what you working on, what you doing. Yep.
Yeah. Building that, network. Hey, take a tour of the FBO. This is our FBO. Hey, here's some snacks. Have, something to drink. It's always been, a welcoming environment so far, you know, within this community. And that's one thing that, you know, I can say that I'm actually very proud of, you know, that it, like I said, fortunately never faced anything like that. I hope I never do, but it's good that I can tell people about those experiences. So, you know, when they ask, and, you know, there's not an automatic bias or a stereotype. So, you know, you land, you know, in the middle of nowhere, you know, wherever, and, you know, you just like going through your head, all right, well, what's going on? What's going on? What's going to happen here? You know, I appreciate the fact that it's been just all love within this community. Even, you know, mechanics and things like that. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I've had a couple bad mechanics, you know, dealing with planes in my lifetime. But you know, it was never anything like that. It was just, you know, they just bad. They were bad. They were horrible mechanics. It
Right.
just was what it
But not
was. And that,
necessarily towards you though. Just like they wasn't as
yes,
good at what they
yeah,
did.
you know, they
They wasn't
discriminated
good at
against the plane. I don't know.
Yeah, and then that's not to say that, you know, maybe somebody else is not that has probably faced that though. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, just
Mhm.
because we haven't, you know, doesn't mean the next person probably has you know,
You're right.
haven't either. You know, people probably go through that maybe daily with their home airport and everything. But you know, especially I mean in Kentucky, man, you know, airports I've been to, and I've been to shoot over 10 states flying. I've flown in over 10 states, and it's definitely been all love each state I go to just because of common love of aviation. You know, like you said,
Mhm.
hey, that's your plane, or you know, what you flying, what you working on. The little small talk of aviation can just, you know, it makes everything else in the world just, you know, you just forget about it. You're just talking about the airplane, you know, talking about the, you know, this and that. You never know who you run into. You know, like, oh
Mhm.
dang, I just, you know, he might be, this guy might leave. He just get all of a sudden he's get on a jet, a citation. Like, oh dang, who I just talking to? Oh, yes, the CEO
Because
of, yeah.
the craziest part. So, at my home field, so I'm at Fairfield County Airport, KLHQ. So at my airport, I was there one day. I'm talking to, you know, the field mechanic and stuff like that. We see a jet come in and land. All of a sudden, you know, we're looking, he's looking, he's like, I've seen that jet before. And lo and behold, it's Cletus McFarland. He comes in and lands, you know, if you
Cletus
ever heard of
McFarland,
him.
I
Yeah.
have not.
Yeah, so he's a popular YouTuber and stuff like that that's on
Okay.
there. Um, but he comes in and lands in his jet right at our small airport. And I was like, well, that's kind of crazy. I wasn't expecting that. But like you
Yeah,
said, you never know who you're going to run into and land. But
absolutely.
also kind of like to double back, you know, this is one of the reasons why I created, you know, this platform to have pilots come and talk about their experiences. So, you know, at some point, I know I am going to run into somebody who has had one of those types of experiences, and I want them to be able to share their story. Because, like you said, you know, just because we haven't experienced it doesn't mean
Somebody
that
has that.
no one else has not experienced it. You know,
Absolutely.
so that's exactly, you know, what this was built for, to just talk and expose and, you know, create those conversations and stuff like that.
Yep. And you never know
You
who's
know,
gonna help
keep
the next
going.
person too. So like when you
Yeah,
bring
you
when
know,
you,
reach one,
you know,
teach one, lift as
yeah,
we
absolutely.
climb. You
Absolutely.
know. And so,
Absolutely.
you know, with that, what would you give, you know, like the kids, like when you talk to the kids and you take them up flying, you know, what advice do you give, you know, the youth who you inspire to pursue a career in aviation?
Man, honestly, just go after it. Go after it. You know, if you're gonna do it, do it. Don't be afraid to go ahead and take that first step. If you're gonna jump into that journey, you know, go dive deep and head first, you know, into it and make it happen. And most importantly, stay consistent with it. You know, you can't just do it and thinking, okay, I'm doing this one time and uh, you know, it's not gonna work out. I mean, if you don't think it's gonna work out, don't work out. But if you really want to do it, make sure you go 10 toes in and
Yeah.
make it happen. So stay consistent with everything. We just talked about this networking. That's probably one of the biggest things too, outside of consistency, is just networking, be a friendly face of people. You know, right now. I work with the Kentucky Department of Aviation in Frankfort, in the
Hmm.
capital of Kentucky, for the state. You know, and I bounce around from 57 airports, general aviation airports, public use airports in the state, and I bounce around through all those. And each place I go to, I network and keep a smile on my face. And even when I was working at Bowman Field at the Louisville Aviation as a line tech, you know, I'm happy to be here. It's a great job.
Hmm.
You know, I'm a smiling face when I go fill up somebody's plane, and you just never know what opportunities will come from that. My current boss with the Department of Aviation, Commissioner Carter, shout out to Commissioner Mark Carter. He actually, I was filling his planes, and he added me on
Mm.
Facebook and see me creating my content on YouTube, and he actually helped open up a job for me there with the state as the media coordinator and public relations officer. You know, going out and talking, promoting these airports, you know, with video, photo, the events they have going on, just so the community can get more involved. People can get more involved knowing that these airports are there. Because, you know,
Yeah.
that's one of the things I do when I go out and talk to these kids. It's like, yo, how many airports I think is in Kentucky? 6, 4, 3, 20. Nah, 57. and there's more private use. There's more private airports, but 57 airports, and they don't know about that. So I try to spread that, and you just never know what opportunities can come from you just going out there and just to the airport and meeting this person. You don't know who you're gonna run into. So I just encourage people to go out and just, go ahead and take that step. If you're hesitant on it, see what it's like. You never know what you can't jock until you try it. If you don't
Yep.
like it, you don't like it. But you got to have an experience first. There's been a couple jobs that I've done that I'm like, okay, it's not for me. But I tried it though. But after I got into aviation, I was like, man, that's just something I want to do. Once I kind of figured it out, and I still don't have it all figured out, but it's like I know I just need to be consistent, keep a smile on my face, keep networking with people. Which when you smiling all the time and got that good energy, you're attracting more people to you. So
Mhm.
now it's like that's even easier. So now I've got hopefully more opportunities to come for me, which I'm sure they will, just for me being the person I am, that personality, that genuine person that I am. So if you can be consistent, network, be happy, treat people right with good energy, I mean, you can go a long way. You can go a long way, no matter what field you in, for real. So especially in aviation, where there's not a lot of minorities or whoever on the airfield, probably most likely, depending on where you at. But just make them connections with people, and everybody want to be around you. You're getting invited to cookouts, getting invited to fly-ins. Next thing you know, you got a buddy who's UPS pal. It's like, man, come fly with me, man. I'm about to go down to have lunch in Somerset. You want to fly with me there? Heck yeah, man. When we leaving? So, and at times they let you log that time if you qualify to fly that aircraft. Go ahead and take the controls. How you like it? Da, da, da. Anytime, I had an opportunity with flying a Piper Lance. If you go on my YouTube and my Instagram, you see me flying a Piper Lance T-tail, retract, high performance and everything, turbo Lance too. I met that guy from at the airport, but through the Kentucky Pilot, and he wasn't flying the plane as often as he wanted to, so we connected, and he was like, man, pay your insurance and do this and pay on the hour of the tack and pay for the fuel, which is a very great deal. I have access to his plane. That's his plane. It's not my plane.
Yeah.
He's like, man, I just needed somebody to fly it, and just pay for this and that. Like, okay, cool. Let's make it happen. So you just never know what opportunities come from you being that good person, genuine person, and just being that good energy that you take around with you and building up your time that can ultimately save you money and build relationships, these long relationships that you really want to have with these people that you met at the airport. So stay consistent, stay proficient, man. Be good people.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because like, I mean, as you speak of that, with the just the networking and talking to people, with with the right attitude and things like that. I never forget. So I flew from my airport to, it was like another little airport. It was like less than 50 miles away, but the gas was cheap there. So like, man, I'm gonna go here and get some cheap gas. Land, I see a Citation Latitude parked over, by the FBO. So I'm like, man, that's pretty cool. So, I land, talking to the FBO manager, and he was like, man, you see that Latitude over there? I was like, yeah. So, of course, like on the outskirts of Columbus, where I'm at, Columbus, Ohio, there's a lot of agriculture. So one of the big agricultural people, one of the presidents had flew in town to have a meeting. So of course they have their own jet. Talking to the FBO manager, he was like, hey, let's go talk to them over here. So we go talk to them. I'm talking to them about the jet and everything. He's like, hey, we gotta go move it. You want to go in? You want to get in the jet with me? Sit up front while we taxi this around and move it around. I said, you already know I want to get in there.
Facts. Nah, fact. Absolutely. What?
And
Yeah.
building from that, so we get in. I'm sitting up there looking at all the controls, man. Now you up front with all like the Garmin 3000 suite, looking at
Oh my
everything,
God. It's
radios and
beautiful.
stuff like that. And we're
Motivating.
taxiing around. And then from there, he was like, hey, you got time? I was like, yeah. He said, all right, we're gonna take you to lunch. You come with us. So, wherever he said, wherever I wanted to go. So, now I got to taxi around in the plane with him. Took me to lunch, met the, the president of the company at the time, and, got to sit back in the plane. And then, after they left, got back on my plane, flew back. But, stopping at other places and making those connections and talk to them. Because like if I didn't know the FBO manager at the airport that I stopped at, just from having conversation and things like that, he would have never introduced me to them. And
Absolutely.
then, being able to have that experience. So, making sure that you talk to people, that's it's huge to build your network. Because like you said, you never know who you're going to run into.
Bro.
And
Never know.
that, for
Absolutely.
me, that was a very, memorable experience. So, for you, can you share a particularly rewarding or memorable experience you've had as a pilot?
So I mean, let's go back to the Young Eagles, the taking the kids up to fly. I mean, I love that, man. Like just seeing the looks on their faces. just when they come out, like, I, giving them the brief on the airplane, just doing a pre-flight with them and everything, just showing them the little things about flying the small airplanes. Then once we get in the air, that's really when it's like, man, this is all right here. This is worth it, because as a volunteer pilot, you donating your time, your money, nobody's paying you to, or, so maybe some case you might get refilled on gas or whatever, but and 9 times out of 10, you're paying for your own fuel and everything just to take these kids up to show them what it's like. But it's all worth it when you get up in the air and they're like, you give them the controls, like, here, go ahead and fly the plane, go ahead, turn me to the right a little bit. You're like, what? Whoa, okay, hey. Then the
Eyes light up. They're
reaction,
like,
so
oh my.
yeah. So then the reactions is dope. That's why I'm big on GoPro, and like as long as the parents approve and everything, I GoPro and I put it on my YouTube, like just to show, like, hey, this is what take your kids out here. If you got a kid, bring them to the airport on these days when they flying the kids for free. Bring them out just
Yeah.
for a free experience. Like, why not? You're not missing out on anything. Drop them off. It's gonna be a couple hours, for that 30 minutes, man. It's totally worth it. So that's definitely one of the rewarding things right there. Just taking the kids up and just seeing the look on their faces when they didn't think it's really possible. Now they got that, maybe they do have a little bug now. And if they don't, they don't. But now they experienced it. And just knowing that, hey, this is all right. Sorry, got a little. This is all right here. So I like that. I love that. I love the reactions they have. That's rewarding every time. It keeps me going. Like, okay, I can't wait till the next event to take these kids up. You can ask the local EA chapter 110 at Bowman. Shout out to chapter 110. They, I be on them like, hey man, when's the next Young Eagles? What are we doing here? Well, when's the next? When is it? We trying to get these kids up because I would like to say I have a big impact on, especially after I joined. I'm sharing on my Facebook, so I'm reaching a whole different amount of people now. That's never knew about this. We have 90 slots or 60, 70 slots for kids, and all of a sudden we got 110 registers. Like, oh, we only got 5 pallets, and I'm like, man, listen, let's fill them up. And now if I need to stay after, to take these kids up, we're gonna get everybody in there. We're gonna make it happen. I got this Cherokee, and I throw 3 kids in the back or whatever. We're gonna make it happen. I'll stay, because at the end of the day, that's the impact that I'm showing these kids, the experience I'm showing these kids is definitely worth it. But I'm still building my hours towards that too, for me personally. So it's kind of like a double dip right there, and a win-win situation where I can't really complain, because I'm gonna be paying for me to fly anyway. So why not do it with a kid with me right there, taking them around on a day that, we having it for them to see what the airport's like and see what it's like to fly. So that's one of them things where it's like, that's rewarding and everything, along with, of course, my accolades of passing the check ride and all that stuff, getting my ratings and all that stuff. Like I got my multi-engine rating back in March and everything. So like when I pass my check ride, that's just rewarding itself, knowing you put the work in and then you seeing it pay off. So I'm very, very blessed, and just shows when you put the work in, so you get out what you put in. And now I'm, have all these ratings almost at 700 hours, multi-engine, commercial, instrument, and now I'm just building up time, look and taking side gigs, picking up. Holler at me if you need, somebody to ferry flight your plane or anything. But just picking up gigs and stuff just to build my hours up. So I'm blessed, and that's what keeps me the fuel to my fire. Just seeing the hard work paying off, and just being motivated about what the future will hold, because I'm not even done yet. I'm still flying the little twin engines. I'm not even flying jets yet. Then when I fly jets, I'm like, cool. Then I know I'm gonna want more. Like, I wonder what it's like to fly a Boeing 737, 747, 777, whatever, all that. And then when I get there, it's going, that's rewarding itself. The kids and just seeing myself hit my goals. It keeps me going each time for sure.
I say I've kind of been blessed to build like relationships with 2 EAA chapters out here. Chapter 9, which is based out of John Glenn Airport, in Columbus in here. They do things like once a month as far as, for the flights, for Young Eagle flights. So, I get with them, through my organization to keep them going on some things. But then, chapter 443, which is at my home field, I can go to them at any moment, be like, hey, I got 10 kids that want to fly. And they'll set me up a date, and I don't have to wait. Don't have to do like a sign up or do anything like that. So, still going back, building those relationships like that to be able to help the kids in that aspect. Because just to be able to go up to them, be like, I got 15 kids that want to fly. And then boom, just instantly like that, they work out a date with me right then and there. And we get them in the air. It's amazing. But, also something that you just said that, kind of struck me. So this past weekend, almost 2 weeks ago, OBAP, the Organization of Black Aerospace Professionals, was just here with their ACES Academy. And so,
great program.
Yes. And so, with that, it has been. I'm the host for the chapter is another organization was here, so I've been hooking up with them, and that's how I met actually. The captain from Delta, the captain from Southwest. Even met one. I can't remember which airline. Please charge it to my mind and not my heart. But he's a 777 captain, and he just told me how he just came back from flying to Paris. I'm like, man, that's wild. I mean, you just never know what kind of stories or whatever you're going to run into or people's experiences and things like that. And then throughout the academy, we're just seeing all the kids light up, all their interests, all their, just experiences dealing with everything. Because we went to flight safety to where they got a chance to sit in the actual simulators that they use to train everybody on, the Bombardiers, the Latitudes, the everything that you can, just try to fly and stuff like that. See them flying the plane and stuff like that. It was just amazing, and something to see. And from that, it's good that we do have organizations, like myself, the Urban Aviators Society, or like Women Rock Wings, the 99s. And so we don't see these things. We didn't see these things in the past, and they're more upfront now. But like with that, I know I didn't have anything like this, when I was younger. But can you share any initiatives or organizations that have supported you in your journey? As you've been progressing as a pilot, were there any, or I mean, if there's not something that you've possibly partnered with or that you work with that that could help others?
Yeah. So like. Well, I'm gonna start off with OBAP right there, since you just mentioned OBAP. I haven't particularly received any scholarship money or anything for them, but just their organization in general. For like last year for their conference, the OBAP conference that was held in Louisiana last year, they booked me, me and a couple of my friends, and as a team, and as the content creators, photographers, and everything for the event. So like something little like that is, that's support for me. That's allowed me to fund my next part of my journey in aviation. So definitely a shout out to OBAP, which is a great organization outside of just networking and everything. They also support, you said something about the ACE Academy and everything. And down in Memphis, great, the Luke Weathers Flight Academy and everything, great program, super. And that's something I wish I knew about at an early age. And people kind of, they did bug me about that earlier, like you need to be part of OBAP, but I didn't take it really seriously when I heard people talking about it. I didn't know about the scholarships and all these other opportunities that can come from that. But looking at it now, and it's not too late to get scholarship. I kind of already have most of my ratings though, but that's something that I got to salute to them, because they are definitely got their foot to the ground and helping these next generation of kids, aviators, mechanics, maintenance, helping fund them through their support and everything, just to get through their journey. And like I mentioned, aviation is not cheap, so the scholarship opportunities and everything that they're doing for these kids is pretty awesome. And so they supported me by just booking me, so that's support enough for that, allow me to put my skill for them. Then they're hiring me and the team that I work with, shout out to Miles and Julius, and just allowing us to capture that content for them and paying us to do that. And then once I get paid, I'm putting that towards me, my aviation journey, or whatever I need to work on, that getting current, or just flying or renting a plane. I know the conference this year is in Memphis, and they got me booked again. Yeah, they got me booked again. So I'll be down there for the whole week doing that, taking pictures for them with Julius and Malice and everything. So I got to salute to OBAP for doing that. Um, Other organizations, I mean, I said Kentucky Flight Training Center, that's the home team at Bowman. They helped me out a lot during my private journey, So shout out to Dale and everything. He was a big part of that, and I can't, I try to shout them out as much as I can, because they was a big part of me getting to where I am now, and initial training and everything. Shout out to Andrew, who's my instructor when I first started training. But it's just awesome to see, because they came a long way too from when I started flying. They got over 6 planes that they got different people involved in, a flight club and all that stuff too. So it's just awesome to be part of that. So shout out to KFTC to do just to help me with my training. And it's not an initiative, but just the relationships I built, the people that helped me along the way. So like my boss, Mark Carter and everything, and even people I met at the airport and all that stuff, people I meet at different airports that allow me to tag along with them to fly and introduce me to other people that they think can help me as well. I can't let that go unnoticed, and that's definitely a big blessing. And just a lot of things that came from that. A
Yeah,
couple
to,
hours
to
flying in
kind of answer
airplanes.
Captain Shadow's question, are you guys looking to become commercial pilots for the airlines or private? So I can tell you most definitely, Jermaine is shooting for commercials all day long. Me, I don't necessarily want to fly for like Delta or Southwest. I'm looking more so towards like net jets, the smaller corporate planes. That's just kind of like what my flavor is.
Yeah.
The smaller jets. So
And if
then
Nick, if you can let me piggyback after you get done, go ahead. Nick. I want to
yeah,
piggyback.
most definitely. So he has a part 2 to that question. And then also he's asking, are we going to Oshkosh? I'd love to, but I don't think it's just not in the books for me this year. I'm going to make it to Air Adventure, Oshkosh, all that here soon, but just not this year. But
I'm going
go
next
ahead.
year. I'm not going this year. I'm not going this year. I was supposed to go to Oshkosh, but a couple setbacks had me. I couldn't make it this year. But next year I plan on to. I went to Sun and Fun last year, and I was like, I'm going to Oshkosh this year. Then life, life be lifing. Couldn't make it happen this year, but next year I plan on to for sure. I got to, one thing you got to do. Everybody say it too. If you're around aviation, you got to go to Oshkosh, the biggest air show in the world, at Oshkosh up in Wisconsin. And I think next year I'm gonna try to fly down, not by myself, because I'm gonna be like, oh, that's a lot. I'll be seeing the videos on YouTube and everything on
I think
Instagram. I'll be
we
like,
can probably
oh,
fly down there together, but we gotta go like a day before. We
now
gotta
real
get there a day
now,
before.
real talk. Yeah, real talk. That's intense. And
land.
Yeah,
go
real
right
talk.
on,
Walk your
yeah.
wings. Real talk. Then you got everybody watching you land and everything. So you kind of want to be on your P's and Q's when you're flying in the Oshkosh. So definitely something we want to be well prepared to go into. So Nick, we're gonna have to talk about that. We can definitely fly up to Oshkosh and everything, set something up. But definitely next year I plan on going. Just to go back to the commercial. Commercials definitely. I don't want to rule out anything for me. I know maybe commercials. I wouldn't say it's number one. Maybe it is number one, but I'm not opposed to anything. And of course, if you know aviation right now, as far as the need for pilots and everything, the opportunities are endless. You can kind of do anything. So I think I'm gonna base that decision off when that journey, when that time comes. It's okay. What's my options here? Because I do have a daughter and everything, and I'm kind of very family oriented and all that stuff. And I know how much time as a pilot can be taken away from your family. So it just depends on how I'm feeling, how my daughter is during that time and all that stuff. So commercials definitely an option, along with private can definitely an option too. I would say that even, but I don't want to rule out anything, because people ask me that all the time. You want to go to airliners, or you want to do something corporate, private, stay local? I'm just like, man, whatever opportunities come, at the time. Somebody can tell me that they have a guy comes to me like, I have this citation sovereign or whatever that, I need a pilot for it and everything, and I'm qualified, and it's gonna have me home every night. Shoot, I might do that. And the money's right, I might do that. But if the time comes and it's like, okay, Republic time, 1500, we got a date for you, we got set schedules and all that stuff. The time's right, and it works out for me at the time. What I'm going through at that moment, I might do that as well. But I tell people, like, I don't know yet, but the options are open. I never know what I'm gonna do, but I definitely want to fly for a living for sure. So just want to put that out there and everything. So
Captain Shadow also asked, have you ever thought about the cadet program, like American Airlines or other United Aviate, their program that they have in place? Have you ever thought about any of those?
Yeah, so I have, but with me having a daughter and everything, that's like too much time away from home for me. Especially if I already have my ratings. I'm instrument, commercial, multi-engine, all that, and I'm approaching 700 hours. I just, at that point, I just really just need the time. Not necessarily the ratings. So I have thought about that, but it's not the best fit for me in my current situation. Everybody's situation too. That's something I learned as well throughout this journey. Everybody's situation is different, but me, in my particular stance, I have a daughter who's home with me and everything. So I don't want to. I'm not ready for that time away, especially just for training. If they're talking about this and that, maybe me and my daughter can relocate for sure. But right now, as far as cadet program, just for training, I'll just stay home wherever best fits for me. So I thought about the cadet program, which is great opportunities for sure. I wish I knew about that, at an early age, or if there were, I know they just kind of started doing that recently, but they had it earlier in my aviation career. Maybe that would have been a option, but right now, not really. But I don't disencourage anybody from taking advantage of that. Those are great programs and a nice, easy way in. So I can't downplay that, but just gotta handle my home stuff at home, my stuff at home first, my personal stuff at home, for sure.
So as you talk about, you have your daughter. So what has been your biggest motivation in your journey?
Man, shoot, you already know, man. You already know. Biggest motivation is my daughter. So just trying to get her, make sure she's established and set and everything. she flies with me. She loves flying. Her mom's side of the family is up in Indianapolis, so when they want to see her or have her for the weekend or whatever is going on, I fly her up there. I'm kind of after becoming a pilot. It's like I don't like driving anywhere anymore. I'll drive to
Ain't
Lexington, which is only 50 nautical
that
miles,
the
a 30
truth?
minute flight. Real talk. I don't want to drive anywhere no more. I don't want to drive. So if I rent a plane and everything or something, if I got the funds for it, I'm flying there. So she loves driving, flying with me. Just sharing that experience with her at a young age, which a lot of people you see a lot of people that share those experiences with their kids and everything. And I just want to continue. I want to share that with my child as well and my future kids, and just introduce them to aviation at an early age, letting them know that if you want to, you can, but if you don't want to, it's all good. But we're gonna fly this plane though to different places, and all that stuff too. So definitely that's one of my biggest motivations is sharing the journey with my daughter and just thinking about the opportunities that will come from me flying. That's a motivation itself too. Like the people I'll meet or you never can put past the money you'll make ever, it's being a pilot because this is an investment. You invest in this type of
Yeah.
money into training, you expect to get that return on investment as well when you do get a job full time. So that's motivation itself, the income, and along with the kids that I take up flying as well. That's motivation seeing their faces when I'm flying them, and them being so happy to see a black pilot. The moms, the parents, the dads taking and bringing their kids out and just like, man, take a picture with him. This is done. I'm like, I'm not even really, I downplay it. Like I'm like, let's just see these other people that's really doing it big, but I guess I am, setting being the face of this, showing them that, hey, it's a black pilot at a young age that you can really do this too. He's flying planes. And especially if you can get that to the kids at an early age too. They can be 22, 23, whatever, 18, flying big jets, making good money at an early age. So that
Yes.
motivates me. And that most people to do better and keep continuing to inspire these kids out there. So that's what motivates me, man, along with my daughter being the biggest motivation itself, but the kids and the opportunities and just the overall goal of hitting those goals keeps me in my fuel, the fuel to fire, keep me going.
Yeah, most definitely. And it's it's those things that keep us going. Our family, friends, and things like that keep you motivated in this journey. Because there was so many people like, oh, you really getting those planes? You really fly them things? And it's like, yeah, man. I tell everybody, it's the experience in itself is like nothing else in the world. The very first time that I took a night flight and you just see the city lit up and you flying at night. Yeah, you see it on commercial flights when you take off and do all that other stuff, but you're a little bit closer, to the ground and, in the smaller planes. And so you get to see it so much more and it just looks so much better, at night like that. I tell people about that and, just being up, even during the daytime, just the things that you see while you up there. And of course, the second question everybody usually has is, so what's turbulence like? Just like in the big plane. I mean, it's just you.
Yeah.
I mean, just on a
Maybe
smaller
a little bit more
scale.
aggressive in the small planes, depending on where you at and what time of day it is. But
Yeah.
Essentially
And so that's usually the second question. And and then of course you're not scared of heights. I mean, well, um, sometimes you have to overcome your fears. And if you can
you
tackle
scared of
that,
heights, Nick?
nah, I've never been.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, so I'm not gonna lie, like, the thought of getting into like a smaller airplane and actually flying, I mean, it was like, man, I don't know if I can do this. I mean, before getting into it, and then like I said, at the final hour, I was just like, man, I don't care. I'm doing it. And and this would be something else that I talk about, with instructors. Make sure you find the right instructor that's for you. I
Absolutely.
went through 7 different instructors before I found the instructor that was right for me. Now, my last 2 instructors were my best instructors. I'll never forget, Corey. Corey helped me get to the finish line, and now he's flying for, like, I think Southwest right now. Great guy. And then, Edwin Rosario, never going to forget him. We was working on instrument before he left to go to be an instructor at Flight Safety. So now he's an instructor at Flight Safety, teaching, all the big plane pilots how to fly.
Dope. Awesome.
Two, my biggest influentials when learning to fly. But I had some rocky people along the way, and it's okay that you do not gel and you need to find another flight instructor. Some people, they don't understand that concept. Oh, I'm just stuck with this person. No, you're never stuck with anybody. You're paying the money. So, this is your investment
anytime.
And, if you look at it, for this investment, you're looking at all the way to the majors, $100,000. You're looking at least, you know, with all the time that you've spent, all the money that you're putting, all the gas, you know, and things like that. But on the back end, you know, when you're flying for Delta, when you're flying for Southwest, you're making six figures. And then, you know, you put the time in to be a captain. I mean, the money's going to pay you back for the investment that you put into yourself, into your passion. So you never have to worry about, you know, those type of things. You just got to, like we talked about earlier, stay consistent and, you know, be meaningful in the things that you do to keep, you know, to keep yourself going. Like it's just, it's amazing, you know, to see, because I watch people, a lot of people's journeys, and like some people get it in 40 hours, and you know, I applaud those people, because that's something I couldn't do it. You know, my time was my time, like you said, your time was your time. But you know, getting there, the journey is, you know, the whole battle, and I love watching that, and that's why, you know, I started watching you before I started flying. Like I said, you started at 19. And you know, we've had conversations beforehand. And I was like, man, I started watching you when you was first on your journey to get your private. And you know, I started kind of going from there and you know, keeping up. You know, I be on man, I'm not trying to sound like a fan, but I be on like
good,
waiting for the
man.
next YouTube.
We gonna get you a hat when they drop. We gonna get you a hat and a shirt swag when they drop, man. It's all good.
Or the Facebook video and waiting on the next video to see what was going on, because I was enjoying seeing, you know, somebody like myself up in the airplanes and getting to fly and stuff like that. You know, that was amazing to me. And you know, I use that to build my motivation to keep going forward. So, you know, like I said, I think your journey has been amazing. You know, I've had quite an amazing journey myself, and everybody, you know, there's certain things that make their journey amazing, but you know, it's the things that we do for each other to help each other out. And that's why I love doing this. I love talking, you know, with other pilots. And then like, you know, like I said, since creating this, talking to other people who, you know, are behind the scenes and fly, so that it's just, we can share those experiences and find out we're not so different after all. And I love that.
Absolutely. Representation matters, brother. For sure.
It does.
For sure.
Herman's asked, did y'all work full time in order during and in order to pay for your training? I most definitely worked full time, overtime, anytime to help pay for my training.
Flying ain't cheap.
Flying's
not cheap. So for me, yeah, I definitely well, actually I was part-time with my jobs, but I had 8 part-time jobs. So I was essentially, I'm a full-time hustler. So I'm a full-time hustler, but I had a lot of different jobs. So I didn't until now working with the state. This is my first actually really full-time job. I worked at Champs full-time back in the day and everything too. But Champs, the shoe store in the mall. But
yeah.
But no, I definitely had a full-time hustle going. I was hustling all the time. Got to get, it's not cheap. So, you know, if you want to make it happen, you know, especially staying consistent with that, I definitely had a couple jobs, picking up anything I could do, you know, extra hours, or as I said, I'm a photographer, videographer, extra gigs, weddings, anything to bring that income in just so I can go fly, go train and everything. That's one thing my instructor told me too. You want to stay consistent with this. At least fly once a week, because you don't want to go a couple weeks without flying. All of a sudden, it's easy for it to go away. You know, and I learned that even after I got my license too. Like once I got my instrument rating, it's like, you know, they got the 6 hits to stay current with instrument. If you don't do that, and it's so easy to get out of your 6 months currency or whatever. It's so easy to forget how to fly an approach that, you know, you want to definitely try at least flying once a week, and you got to pay for that if you're not getting booked to fly or, you know, getting contracted out or anything. So yeah, so hustle, the funds had to be there. You know, you had to work there, you know, get the money however you could and everything. That was very important. And you know, that brought out the hustle in me, and I'm sure it did for you too, Nick. You know, if you really want to make it happen, you'll make it happen. And I tell people that all the time. You know, people are like, oh, it's expensive and everything. You can know people can take out loans too, but unfortunately I wasn't able to. Well, I guess unfortunately, you know, I wasn't able to take that out because, you know, some people want co-signers and all that stuff. I was going to do ATP route actually before I started flying Part 61, but they was like, you can get a co-signer. Next thing you know, I'm asking my peoples for co-signers, my family and everything. Everybody's like, nah. Like, come on, man. It's like an ROI thing. A return on investment. Invest in me to fly. You know,
you know, I become the pilot for somewhere else.
Yeah,
you get
I'm gonna buy us a plane, y'all. I'm gonna buy us a plane. Everybody's buying me up, saying no. So you know, then, you know, that just goes back to show, like, hey, you want to make us happen, go ahead and make it happen, man. Go ahead and do it. So I made it happen, and I'm doing it, and I I said, I'm blessed. But yeah, I definitely hustle was very important. Had some sleepless nights, some long days, but the work pays off and still paying off, and I'm still grinding. I still have sleepless nights where I still gotta stay up with my daughter or go work this extra job or my mom's babysitting just so I can have some money so I can go flying, or I need to get current on this or current on that. I need to do 3 night landings so I can take passengers up. So today I ain't got the extra money to do that. So I'm like, okay, let me go do. I can pick up this gig or pick up these extra hours to make that happen. So, yeah, full time, part time, a lot of jobs made it happen. So made it happen. I do want to go back to what you said, Nick, before we move on to the next question about instructors.
Yeah.
That's very important. You hit the nail on the coffin with that. If you got an instructor that you don't feel like is fitting for you, man, don't be afraid to, and you can do this politely, professionally, and I'm sure they'll understand too. And sometimes they'll, most of the time they understand, go ahead and do this. It's always, and you want to pay attention to your instructors. That's not saying all instructors like this, but when they're on the back half of their time, when they're about to get to the airlines, it's like, they're like unnecessary flights that you got to pay attention to that. Like, okay, I don't really need to be doing this. They're just trying to, but then you catch on, like the instructor might be trying to build up his time, his or her time, just to get them out of there real quick because they're about to be done. Maybe they're 50 hours from being at the airliners and they're using you to pay for it. Because at that point, you're paying for them and the fly. So they're just kind of double dipping and soaking it in. So you got to pay attention to instructors like that. And don't let that go unnoticed either. Don't be afraid to toss them to the curb. Just let them know, like, hey, I don't think it's working out. Or if you don't feel comfortable talking to them, go to the flight school owner. Like, hey, I'm not comfortable with this. And if they're not agreeing with that either, switch flight schools. It's all good. No harm, no foul. Nick said it. It's just your money, your investment. You're the boss for real. You're fired. Fire them if you need to be. And that's very important because you don't want to waste your money. All of a sudden, now you had 150 hours and you still ain't did no private pilot check ride. That's unacceptable.
And that was kind of
why
one
am
of
I
the
not ready?
situations I faced with, like, 2 of the instructors that I had. So I soloed with one instructor and had been flying solo for, at least about 10 hours. And so he wound up, going on moving up to the majors. And then so I found somebody else, and he just kept telling me, I'm not ready to solo. I'm not ready to solo under him. We're looking at 20 hours later, and I'm like, man, I was flying solo, just fine, with the other person. And we're 20 hours later with, me with you in instruction. And, I still haven't soloed with you and he won't sign off. And, so at that point, I know I had to make a decision. We're like, okay, well, let me see if I can find someone else who will think different from this person. And when I got with the next person after that, it was nothing. All right. Yep. Signed off right on it. Then I was right back to solo flight. And so you got to, like he said, like Jermaine said, pay attention to those things. And don't be afraid to speak up for yourself, because if you don't, nobody else is going to speak up for yourself.
Absolutely.
And
Herman,
yeah,
but go ahead. You're about to say,
yeah.
Go ahead.
But one of the things that like Jermaine had talked about, scholarships. Now I know, some of them are out of reach. Some of them, you probably won't get and things like that. But closed mouths can't get fed. If you're not putting in for those scholarships, you never know what you're going to get. And that could help you out on your journey. And hopefully, you can possibly get some. I've never applied for any. Just being stubborn, just continuing to work overtime to help out or stuff like that. But I'm going to for a lot of, like, especially for my multi stuff, because multi, as Jermaine can tell you, is expensive. Just to get all that stuff. So,
but yeah, and just to piggyback off you. Oh, sorry, Nick. Go ahead.
Oh, you good? No.
I think it's a little delay on my end. My fault. I apologize for cutting you off like that.
No, you
but
good.
just to piggyback off what Nick said, I mean, you said, I think he pulls up the questions right here, but what you said, but it says seems out of reach. Herman, hopefully I'm saying your name right and everything, but it's make it happen, bro. You can, if you put your mind to it, you can definitely make it happen. Put in the extra work, extra time, and you can. It's worth it. Put the time in. If you got to pick up an extra job, that's like I'm telling Nick at the beginning of the podcast. I'm working to get it here. I work at the airport or whatever. Then just working at the airport just to get that fuel discount. There's a lot of things and ways you can get out of there. And then, like Nick just said too, don't be afraid to apply for those scholarships, because there are a lot of scholarships out there for minorities or just even, pilots in general. there's hella scholarships out there for people just to apply for, and money just waiting to be spent. And there's nonprofits. There's a lot of nonprofits too that's like OBAP that raise money for this reason. So just stay focused, man. If you want to make it happen, man, you'll make it happen for sure. You find a way. I promise you, you find a way. And just put a date. That's what I had to do one time. I just had to, well, that's what I did. I put my birthday. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start flying by my birthday. Put a date up there, and that just goes the same with my check rides too. Once I put a date up there, I can be hipper and like pushing this back as long as I can. Okay, I'm gonna do it next week. I'm gonna do it next week. I'm gonna take my written this week. I'm gonna take my written next week. Okay, but once I put a date on there or I scheduled it, like once you go ahead and schedule your flight. That's what I would tell you to do. Go ahead and schedule your first flight, and then after that, let God handle it. You'll make it
Yeah.
happen. You're gonna get that bug. You're gonna be like, okay, no, I'm gonna make it happen. Okay, cool. Then you'll be surprised what opportunities will come from just the flow of life. Like, okay, now things are starting to work out. Like, I'm a very religious man, so like, guys, if I really want to do this, I'm sure he'll make a way for me, and no doubt he sure has. And I'm blessed to be able to came this far on the leap of taking a leap of faith. So take a leap of faith, Hernan, bro, Herman, bro.
Yeah, most definitely. Which, I mean, right now, so that brings us, to our last question, which is, what changes would you like to see in the representation of people of color in aviation, both in the cockpit and across the industry as a whole?
So, excuse me. So I would just like to see more people of color in the aviation field in general. It's just, and minorities in the aviation field in general, not just being a pilot. And we talked about the different opportunities in aviation, such as ATC, engineer, maintenance, a lot of stuff, flight line, ramps. Um, I would just like to see more people involved with that. Letting them know that there is not, you don't only have to be a pilot. And if you would want to be a pilot and you're like, okay, I'm scared of heights, there's drone pilots out there that's kind of becoming
Yes.
big thing now. Drone opportunities. You can stay on the ground, just navigating the drone and all that stuff. Dispatchers. There's lawyers. Shoot, I work in aviation. I'm a media coordinator. I'm not flying full time. I'm a media coordinator. I handle the social media for the Kentucky Department of Aviation here in Kentucky. So, I just represent that. I go to different airports or do the events. So there's different careers that you can do. Working for the line, working for the FBO, fueling planes, ramp agents, in aviation. So there's different opportunities. So I just want to see people get more involved with that. Nonprofits such as the Urban Society, Aviator Society, Nick head in that, and the women that you just had on the last
Women Rock
podcast,
Wings, yep,
Women in
Megan
Rock,
and
you know,
Toya.
doing their thing, and just wanting to get people more involved and showing them that this is an option for them. So people are already doing it, taking initiative on that, and I'm grateful. I'm sure I'm grateful just because stuff like this when people bring me on podcasts and trying to talk about that and uplift that, and I can tell people about, hey, have you looked into Urban Aviator Society? You look at the 99s or something for women, or there's something out there for everybody. So it's just cool to see the growth of the initiatives of people of color or minorities getting taken and people getting more involved with that. Hey, we need to do this. And even the is the DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and
DEI,
everything.
yep.
People and all that, and people get mad about that, thinking, oh, they're doing this because they're not even qualified. And boy, gal, whoever's hating, go on somewhere, because I promise you, these folks are qualified, and it's just about reasons like that. The opportunity just never been there. So now more people getting involved with that, going through the proper training, and now there's like a quota for that, which is okay, because you still got to be qualified. At the end of the day, it's all about safety. So the person is going into these positions, these roles, no matter if they're black, white, or whatever, I'm sure they're qualified for this, and no doubt. And I'm happy that stuff like that is getting um shine light on and being the thing, because more people can get involved with it. And like we just said, representation matters. When you see a black lady or a white lady, because the white women are minorities as well, but if you're seeing people of color and all these minorities in the cockpit, it's like, okay, that's showing something for your kids too, that you can do this. It's all about representation. It's possible, instead of seeing a lot of older white males in the industry just being the face front of that. It's not, it's not all about that. It's, as long as you can show that there's opportunity there, I'm sure people can follow through with that and be qualified for it, just like I will be one day. And you're gonna see me in the cockpit. And this goes back to we was talking about the haters. Somebody commented the DEI thing on my comment post one time. I'm like, bro, what? Stop playing with me. I've been putting in work, and I'm qualified and proficient. Don't hate on that because this and that. And it's I'm glad stuff like that happens. Fuel to the fire. So people are doing great things and taking initiatives to get more people involved on the minority side, people of color and everything. OBAP, EAA, Urban Aviator Society, and everything, and the folks like that, just to make sure that people are younger generations or even minorities in general are getting more involved with aviation and the different opportunities in aviation. So it seems like the ball's rolling already, and it's only growing from there. So I'm very happy to be part of that progress for sure.
And then, because like one of the things I was talking about, in the beginning. So let's even not think about like putting a boundary on it or whatever. At the end of the day, like, with my organization, underserved and underrepresented. That definition is so broad and so amazing to help anybody still be able to fly and expose them to aviation and things like that. One person that I saw one of their YouTube channels, Fly with Owen, young Asian male, jet pilot right now. Kind of watching his journey. I watched a whole bunch. If you don't know, I watched a whole bunch of YouTube.
Hey man, that's good content creators out there.
I just got YouTube.
Shout out to all the content creators out there for sure.
Most definitely. And it's kind of what led me to do this. And I know I've been slacking. And I got hours upon hours of flying videos, which I know Jermaine has hours upon hours of flying videos. It's just life, and then still trying to fly and produce, edit, and cut all this stuff down to put it out. Just gets time consuming, and you still have to live your life. You still have to get that healthy balance in there to create your own type of peace. But it's just like I said, I love this type of environment, this platform, and being able to speak to stuff like this and just speaking about people's experiences and just finding out like how their journeys were and what it took for them to get where they are now. And when you look at it, like all of us, just the people that I've had on here so far, we're not only doing it, we're helping others to do it as well. We're inspiring others to do it as well, because that's one of the questions. That's why I ask, what is it like to be a role model? So whether you know it or not, you have kids watch your content, you have other people watch your content and things like that. So they see you doing it. So that helps them to believe that, they can do it just as well. And, that's the part that I love about it, because I'm waiting for the day, and I know that, you the same way, but man, you know what? I got my pilot's license because I saw you doing something. And I'm waiting for that day, and I know I'm going to hear it. So I'm not trying to toot my own horn or nothing like that.
It's a good feeling, man. I promise you. I mean, I didn't, not toot my own horn either, but people done came to me. It's like, man, you got me. You helped me do this. I mean, just like you said, you watched my videos before, and I love that. And that's kind of why I put it out there, because I want somebody to see the journey I took from day one, and and even the flaws and all, and the long journey. 4 or 5 years later, I'm still pushing, and look how far I've come. You can make it happen. That's what I was telling seeing with the comment, before that, once you make that first step, go ahead and it's gonna be, it's only up from there. So keep making it happen, and stay proficient, stay consistent, and that reward is worth it for sure.
Most definitely. So this is the challenge, and it's not really a challenge; it's a must-have. So YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, everywhere. Yeah, I need y'all to hold us to this. I've been threatening to fly with Jermaine way a long time ago. We had a Facebook post, and I made a comment that, man, I'm gonna fly to Bowman Field, and we're gonna fly together. So as I say, all the subscribers, everybody listening to this, y'all are our accountability partners with this right now. So you are going to see a video with me and Jermaine in the cockpit. Promise you that. So I said, I want y'all to hold us to that, because y'all are our accountability partners with this. So on both of our social medias and stuff like that, y'all, and it started getting too long. Hey, we ain't seen the video yet. wear a video.
And if you're
So
not
that
already
we can make
subscribed or
this happen.
following, go ahead and follow us right now. If you're not already subscribed
Yes.
or following, go ahead. That way you can stay up to date with that.
Yeah. So, with Jermaine on Facebook, you can follow him at Pilot Jermaine Bibb. On Instagram, Jermaine Bibb _. And, anything with the Urban Aviators is like all handles for Urban Aviator Society is going to be Urban Aviator Society. And even if you find me personally, I mean, I don't know if you see from the purple and gold, you'll see my handle as the Flying Q,
Hey.
but
Yes, sir.
and so yes, hold us most definitely accountable because we're gonna make this happen. I promise you that.
Yes,
I really don't see any more questions, no more comments. We've been on here for probably about 1:30 because this has been a great conversation. I planned for these usually to be an hour long. They never make it to an hour.
Well, it's not boring though. It's not boring content, man. You do a good job of asking the questions and bringing us all and keep everybody engaged with it too. And even with bringing the comments in too. So that's salute to you and the platform you've created. And thank you again for bringing me on and all that stuff. So
you are always welcome back. If you ever got anything going on, please let me know. We will set something up ASAP so you can let the people know any initiatives, anything, programs you got going on, any updates, in your journey. We will most definitely be glad to talk about it here. You got any friends you want to, steer my way? Because like I said, we're always looking for people to have on the show, people to talk to and things like that, talk about their journey. Hey, I can put as many people as we want to. We can have a panel of people. We can do anything like that, just to talk about anything. So also, if anybody else, anybody that, you feel would be a good fit to come up here just to talk about aviation and, experiences, things like that, please reach out, Urban Aviators Society. We'll see what we can do to get them on. Some of the people that I'm looking at, right now, Jermaine knows him as well. He spoke to him as well, but Russ can fly. I'm trying to make it happen and see if we can get Russ can fly on.
Shout out to Russ, man. He's doing his thing, man. He's motivating.
He is.
Yeah,
just bought that new plane and everything.
Hey, Russ, come fly me, Russ. after me and Nick fly. Me and Nick gonna fly up there to see you, Russ.
Yeah, hey, we can do that. Hey, I'm with that.
Go
too.
Eagles.
Well, most definitely. See two more comments. Definitely not boring. Thank you for the content and inspiring. And which that's one of the things that we try to do. We try to be appealing and show our experiences that they're relatable to everyday life and everything that other people have going on, and the things that we're doing is not so different from anybody else. And your journey can be just the same. So that's why we kind of do what we do here. And man, I mean it. This better not be your last time on here, Jermaine. So
I'll come back anytime, my brother. Anytime.
So anything else you want to get out? Let anybody know?
I mean, you pretty much said it, man. If you've not followed me already, follow me on IG, Instagram. That's Jermaine Bibb _. You can literally search my name up on any platform for real. But Facebook, Pilot Jermaine Bibb. You can add me as a friend too, just regular Jermaine Bibb. But Pilot Jermaine Bibb is pretty much where I post all my aviation content. I try to share, the flights that I go on. Even if I post a video on YouTube, which could be on YouTube. If I'm on YouTube, just search Jermaine Bibb. Literally on there, I post my flights, flight vlogs, and everything. Anything that I can share. I got a lot of content that I've in the chamber that I'm gonna throw out there that I'm trying to stay more consistent with it now that YouTube's telling me they're trying to monetize me. And I just reached 4,000 subscribers. So I appreciate all the love on there for real on all my platforms for real. I get a lot of engagement and questions and inboxes in my DMs and stuff. So I try to be one of those people that respond to everybody and answer anybody's question. I'm not about to ignore everything when I answer them when I can. So I'll respond. And I'm also on TikTok too, Pilot Jermaine Bibb. I do a lot of reels and stuff on there as well. So just to share the in-person cockpit views of stuff are less good experience, and people be saying it's really helpful for them in their training too, because a lot of my stuff is just calm work when I'm doing my reels, talking to ATC, showing how people, teaching moments and stuff. I'm working on my CFI, so hopefully I'll be training people here soon and not paying to fly anymore, because I'm over that. I'm telling you right now, so I can get more contracts out. So and the last thing I do want to say, I did have a note right here though, is just to tell people and get involved. and was
Yes.
inspired. If you're not involved already with aviation, if you have a question about it or just curious about it, go to your local airport. There's airports, literally tons of airports across every state. It gets more dense, of course, in the western states on the west coast and everything, but there's still airports within. Here in Kentucky, we got an airport with damn near in every other county. 57 airports. Kentucky's pretty small, but a lot of airports around. So if you don't know any airports, just Google local airport. They'll, Google pop your location up and just go up there and just talk to the airport, hang out. There's guys that go up there every morning. The old timers go up there every morning to have coffee and just chill. So you can go up there and hang out too, just to hang out with people and network and everything. And you never know where it'll come from that. So don't be afraid to ask questions and just to get involved with that. So and if you have any questions, you can reach out. I'm sure Nick is not hesitant to respond to things. And as for me, I'm not hesitant to respond. So if you have any questions, reach out to either one of us and we can make it happen. Thanks.
So yes, with that, please make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, ask questions. Oh, we might got one. Is there any weight that comes to mind as a practical limit for a student pilot? One they would need to get down to for both training and the medical certificate must be a limit. Well, I don't know if you can see this, but I'm probably I'm a healthy individual, and I'm gonna be brave to do this on a live stream. I'm gonna tell you my weight because you're asking about a weight. So I weigh 295 pounds. I'm no small guy. So I know if I can get into the airplane and fly now, you won't fit in the 150. It's not no good for a Cessna 150.
Don't do a 150, bro. Don't do a 150.
A 172, a Cherokee 180, something like that. I promise you, if you more healthy like myself, I'm not a small guy, so I fit just fine. I was flying around in a Cherokee 140 with a 160 horsepower motor. Nobody else besides the instructor was getting in full tanks of gas, but I was still able to fly.
Yeah. And then, you'll learn about that too as you're, when you become your pilot journey. But there's of course, you want to be as healthy as you can be. But I wouldn't say there's no maximum limit of weight, but you don't want to be, too oversized. But I mean, just like Nick said, I mean, if he can do it happen, and I've flown with people that's, respectfully, that's bigger than Nick. If he's talking about Nick doesn't even look like he's the size you just said, so that's camera weight or whatever, but you look good, Nick, brother. I don't know, you might want to rescale yourself, brother, but just I guess for this purposes, that's a good example though. There's really, there's aircraft built for all different type of people. And there's actually one of my examiners, he's, I don't know how much he weighed, but he was probably a little bit bigger than Nick. And we did a check ride. So he's flying jets and everything. So, of course, the bigger the plane is, the more higher the scale it can be to fly. So don't limit yourself to that. And if then you do go up and go to the airport, you're like, and they do restrict you, but like you need to be this, I guess, make it happen, Captain, or find another plane or find another flight school to make it happen for you. But you'll get a feel for it. I think you'll get a feel for it once you go out and see, then, go and experience it. Cause it's all about being comfortable. Cause I can tell you right now, I'm gonna speak with half of Nick right now too. If he's talking about he was getting in 140s, the Cherokee 140s, that probably wasn't easy to get into because it was with the doors. With the doors and everything, but but there's a plane built for now he's flying. Which flying the Arrow now and everything.
Yeah, Piper Arrow, 200 horse.
So Piper Arrow. So now he finds a plane that fits for him and everything. So there's a plane out there for everybody that you can train in and do all that. So don't limit yourself on worrying about the weight and everything. So just go out there and do it and experience it. And if you don't like it, you're like, I don't like how heavy this feels, or whatever. You do something about it. Your instructor ain't gonna do nothing like tell you because if you probably gonna still be able to fly the plane. But if you're uncomfortable flying the plane because self insecurities of being overweight or whatever, you only can control that. I tell people all the time, think you do this, you make it happen. So make it happen, bro. So 300, yes, go make it happen, bro. Go fly, go do a discovery flight at your local airport.
Go do something.
And then you'll see after that. Yeah.
Yes.
Man. No limits, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Expand your horizons.
Expand your horizons, right? Yeah, no limits. Even though there are limits, though, don't take this to heart. There are limits to certain things. There's procedures and rules and everything. But this is like a more like a metaphor thing. Like, don't limit yourself to nothing in life.
Yeah. So, don't limit your mind.
Yeah, facts. No limit with your mind. And the sky is not the limit. Keep going.
So, like I was saying though, but make sure, like both of us, he gave you all his, threads. Pilot Jermaine Bibb. Make sure you subscribe, comment on videos. Urban Aviator Society, we're putting stuff out. Please make sure you like, comment, subscribe, ask questions. Also, I'm just gonna put it out there for both of us. If you know anybody, Garmin, Lightspeed, Bose, whatever. We're always looking for people to sponsor us. So we will
What?
take sponsors. So we're
Facts.
always looking for
Yeah, facts. We don't discriminate nothing. If anybody, yeah, hit us up. Hit us up. I would definitely probably put a little tag at the bottom corner, top corner. Y'all can have a whole little 10 seconds. Just, you
Yep.
know, we know how it goes business.
Thank you. We've hit the 133 mark, and we look forward to we'll figure out who we're gonna have next on, and we look forward to seeing everybody and having these conversations soon. So we appreciate you. Thank you.